Hey there guys, good evening, Liz here. Hope you guys are having a happy Tuesday, and I'm gonna be sharing with you a new protein ball recipe. For those of you guys that do not know me very well, or you haven't seen any of my videos before on protein balls, I'm a huge fan. I know a lot of people in this group have asked often for some new protein ball recipes, and it is important to find ones that are good and healthy for you, because protein balls, you can absolutely overdo it because they are so good. But if you figure out what the components are that you should have in there, what your purpose is for your protein balls, and what type of ingredients you need to incorporate to get you to your goal, it's very, very helpful. So this is the yummy protein ball that I made probably 4 or 5 days ago. I made these, but guys, honestly, the longer that my protein balls sit in the fridge, I like them better. It's just how cohesive they get. It's delicious. So I actually shared a chocolate espresso protein ball recipe the other week. And so, hey, Casey, thanks for hopping on. And so I actually made another one this past week, a couple of days ago, and I wanted to share that one with you. So guys, first of all, when you're starting off with your protein balls, for those of you guys who may not be as familiar with them, you need to have some type of cohesive unit. Like if you're throwing in all these different types of ingredients into a protein ball, you want to make sure that they're going to stick together, right? Otherwise you might as well just spoon it into your mouth. Like you want to be able to mold it into a ball form. So a lot of times, many people use a nut butter or a seed butter. Like you can use sunflower butter, cashew butter, peanut butter, really whatever you would like to use. And that works great to be able to keep everything nice and sticky. But what I changed in this recipe, or what I added, I guess I should say, because I almost always use a nut butter, but what I switched up and tried was adding in dates. Hey Susie, I see you're watching as well. Thanks for hopping on. Hey Malky. So I actually added dates in here. And some of you guys may not be friends with me on my personal page. Feel free to add me if you want. But I actually took a picture. After I ran these dates through my food processor. I have an Omega nutrition system. If you guys know what that is, it's a juicer, but it acts as a food processor too. And the one ingredient or the one recipe I found for protein balls called for date paste. And so I'm like, all right, this is going to be the first time that I'm doing this. So I literally took dates. I took the pit out of it. Okay. You want to make sure you don't run it through the food processor with the pit in there. And after it came out in a paste, I was like, oh my God, that doesn't look very attractive. And my husband comes over and he was like, yeah, I can kind of say what I think that's called. And I'm like, you know what? I wonder if anyone's going to be able to guess what this is. So I took a picture of the date paste, and people were guessing for a full on hour, like guess after guess. Some people were guessing like it was funnel cake, it was fried green beans. And I'm like, do you guys know me at all? I'm not having like fried stuff come out of my food processor right now. But someone finally guessed that it was date paste. She wanted a free cleanse. I was like, you know what? Whoever can guess this, I'll send something to you. So I'm sending that to Brittany Bradley tomorrow. But I sent 10 of these dates through my Omega nutrition system and made a date paste that made probably about half a cup of that. So I had my peanut butter, I had my date paste, got everything really, really sticky and blended together. And then I started adding some of the dry ingredients. So many people use oats in their protein balls. It's something I almost always use. I don't usually use the quick oats. I'll use those almost like, like the old fashioned oats, right? And if you can find something gluten-free, that would be the best in my opinion. But you can also use other types of solids that are like flour-like, okay? So some people don't want oats. Some people may have a food intolerance, or they're just afraid that maybe they are, tainted with gluten, who knows? But I used coconut flour. You can use coconut flour, almond flour, but I put this in there instead. And I was wondering how it was going to taste, because I really like the old-fashioned oats. I really like having that texture in there. But if you're someone that is not really big on texture and you like stuff that's smooth, this could be a really good alternative for you. You could always grind up your oats as well, but I love the fact that I could get something else in there, a little bit of coconut flour. Then I added in a quarter cup of my, my semi-sweet, mini chocolate chips. And guys, you don't need much. Seriously, when I say a quarter cup, it's a quarter cup, but I almost always add these into my protein balls because it gives it that little bit of sweetness. It's really like all that I need, especially if you're craving something sweet, if you're craving candy, these are a great alternative because you just have a little bit of chocolate in there, and we want our antioxidants in there, right? So threw that in there as well. And then last but not least, I had agave in there. And honestly, I never really use agave for much. A lot of times I use honey just to add in a little bit more stickiness, a little bit more natural sweetness to my protein balls. But I put in 2 tablespoons of agave. Again, I will drop the recipe in here after I'm done. And it was great. It was an awesome way to be able to just get different ingredients in there that had different, micronutrients and vitamins and minerals and things like that I wouldn't normally have. And I had run out of my Physique protein powder, but normally I do put a scoop of protein powder in there as well, and it kind of just acts just like the coconut flour would. And so that was the ingredients that I put together here. But guys, what I want you to think about, no matter what recipe you are making with your protein balls, is think about dates versus a nut butter or some type of seed butter, okay? So dates in the fruit family, it's gonna have more sugars, it's gonna have more carbs. It's going to affect your hormones differently. Then you have a nut butter. Clearly, it's going to be higher in fat. Yeah, there are some carbs still in peanut butter and whatnot. And then you have a little bit more protein. So think about what your goal is. When are you consuming these protein balls? Why are you consuming them? Do you want a really quick snack before your workout? If so, maybe you want to put a little bit more dates in there. Maybe you want something that has a little bit more of a higher carb source and lower fat source, because your body's going to really feed off of those carbs and utilize them to the fullest when you're having your workout. And if you end up putting any type of fat source in something that you're having right before your workout or right after, honestly, guys, fat is a vasoconstrictor. So it's literally constricting your blood vessels. It's going to make it more difficult for your blood to be pumped through and get to your muscles. And it's kind of defeating the purpose of what we're trying to do when we're working out, right? It's not helping us. So you want to have something that's a little bit more carbohydrate based versus something that is a little bit more fat dense. So think about when you want to consume these. If you don't want to consume them around your workout, maybe you work out in the morning and then later in the day, you want something that just is a little bit more protein and fat dense, really quick, something that you have in between taking the kids back and forth from one, activity to the other, then go ahead, throw in a little bit more fat in there. That's probably going to be your better bet. But think about the purpose of you and why you want your protein balls. And then last but not least, guys, make sure that you make them a decent size. I took a bite of this right before I went on here, so this isn't how I make them. I literally took a little chunk out. But don't roll them too big if you're someone that knows you're going to want to have more than one. Don't roll it the whole big size of your palm and say, oh, that's one protein ball if you know that you're a nibbler, okay? Make them smaller. I usually make mine that's probably just a little, in the middle of my palm here. Or maybe it's half the size of my thumb. Something like that is going to make it so that I reasonably can have 2, 3, and I'm going to be okay in my range. So just think about that when you're also rolling them up as well. But guys, these are awesome. They're so quick. They're so easy. I'm not a chef. Ask my husband. I really don't know how to cook and I am learning, but these are so great. Even your kids will eat them. So it's a great way to be able to get a good, solid, dense snack. Very healthy snack, but make sure you have them in moderation, and they're so easy to grab on the go. I almost always have one in a Ziploc baggie in my lunch bag when I'm traveling. So thanks so much, guys. Have a good night, and let me know how you like the recipe.